would you characterize the 221st?
Well, I just kind of remember it as a group of guys that went out and took pictures. I mean, that's the best way. I mean, that's what you did.
The 221st Signal Company Pictorial was an Army photo company made up of movie photographers, still photographers, photolab technicians. The unit was formed in 1966 to photograph the war in Vietnam.
Characterize 221st and what you think of that outfit.
I've said to people before, it was sort of like being in a MASH unit. Because unlike infantry or artillery, where you have people from all walks of life with all interest, here you're assigned to a group of people that all had the same basic interest, which makes it much more interesting, because you can pick each other's brains, and you're still dealing with people from all over the country. But you really learn a lot from each other. It was just a very unique unit, and its history really needs to be put out there.
I found out I was going to be company commander of the 221st with the mission of all combat photography in Southeast Asia.
So, all DeYoung had to do was to find the equipment, the people, and ship it all off to a war.
On June 16, 1966, the 221st Signal Company was officially formed at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. In April of 1967, the first detachment from the 221st arrived in Vietnam. Their first mission was to build the base for the rest of the company. In the next few months, the 221st was fully deployed in Vietnam. The company saw its first action on November of 1967 at the Battle of Doc Do. During the battle, 2 of the unit's photographers were wounded. Between 1967 to 1972, the photographers of the 221st took some amazing photos.
Opposed to that is the fact that you're being shot at, which creates a lot of havoc and high blood pressure and distraction. And so you're balancing those two things. You know, you're trying to survive and you're trying to compose pictures and watch the lighting and just, you know, doing two diametrically opposed activities all at once.
We were on our own. We, just take the pictures, make sure you got good captions, and
But nobody was actually supervising you in the field. How'd you know where to go?
We would be given the assignment there in Long Bend. It could be say B Battery, 15th Artillery at say Quezon, just as an example. And we get a hold of the unit commander. Here we are, we're from the 221st to take pictures and document what you're doing out here. The one I remember the most was probably in the Fishhook area of Cambodia. We were sent there to work with 1st Unit of 1st Cavalry. They had found a major cache of supplies, food, weapons, radios, and they wanted this documented for intelligence purposes and as well as historical value. And the night that we got there in the afternoon, got the photographs. That night we got hit, and it was mostly North Vietnamese regulars. But both my MOPIC man and myself got through it, and we helped out. I helped out with the mortar team. My MOPIC man helped out with the medics, helped save the guy's life, and the lieutenant from the 1st Cav put us in for the Silver Star, and we ended up with the Bronze Star.
On May 9th, 1970, 5 Army photographers covering the Cambodian incursion were killed when their helicopter was shot down as it was returning to Pleiku. They were Christopher J. Childs III, Ronald Sidney Lowe, Douglas John Eitri, Larry Clayton Young, and Raymond Lou Parody. Also,
Story. Tell us your version of Ghost Rider 079.
Well, what I remember Kelly telling me, and I may have still been in my hooch when I was told, but I could have been in the office. I think I was in the hooch. He said he came in and said we had a helicopter go down. 6 of our guys were killed. And they recovered a roll of film. And the last picture taken was the helicopter, taken from the helicopter, and it was upside down. So I'm thinking, oh my God. I knew some of those guys fairly well. So I was really stunned by their loss. It bothered me deeply for several days. But the idea that he would take a picture with the helicopter upside down and it's crashing, what more can a photographer do? Put out some things. We put a Filmo and a helmet, and then we also put a boonie hat out there. And people, oh, I don't know if you can put a boonie hat, it's not reg. And, oh, let's do it anyway. So we did it. Nobody got the axe for that.
One of the unit's highlights was that the 221st was assigned to film the Bob Hope Christmas show. In 1972, the 221st was deactivated. During its 5-year tour, 8 of its members were killed and over a dozen more were wounded.
It was kind of like a MASH unit, it was kind of like MASH on steroids, for photos. I mean, because, who comes in with an air conditioner to the unit? I remember in photo supply, we had a Korean, a bunch of Korean guys came in and they wanted to trade a helicopter for film. And I was almost going to go for it, but the helicopter was still in the crate. We didn't have anybody to put together.
Got the guys together. I mean, we were just like loaded for bear. I mean, to sweep the perimeter of Long Binh. All right. I did everything you're supposed to do. Had the briefing, how we were going to get into the vehicles, how we were going to get out of the vehicles, how we'd line up when we got there. Echelon left, echelon right. We get out there and we start walking, and we're doing our sweep. And I've got my RTO, the radio telephone operator, with me. I don't remember his name. Really tall guy. He's on the radio, and I said, well, let me talk to him. All I get is static. So I can't say I read you 5 by or anything like that. All I hear is static. I can't hear anything. He says, let me take it. And he says, well, they tell us to turn around and go back. So we turned around and went back. Years later, I thought, who told them to turn around and go back? I mean, I couldn't hear anybody. And who's he talking to? He's probably talking to nobody. But he was, okay, we were out here and we turned around and went back. I mean, I thought, but years later, I go, like, that was crazy. I never talked to him. And so that was that.
On On September of 2022, the 221st gathered for its 5th reunion in Alexandria, Virginia. The farewell banquet was held at the Army National Museum. At the museum is a plaque honoring the men of the 221st. For most of the members, this was the first opportunity they had to view their memorial. The highlight of the banquet is an opportunity to remember the 8 members of the unit who did not return from Vietnam.
Eloquently described as giving the full measure of their devotion. We also take this opportunity to remember all those of the fallen. And so, Christopher J. Child. Maurice Clark. Ransom Craig Sear. Timothy Joseph Duncan. Douglas John Etrie. Ronald Sidney Lowe. Raymond Lewis